Welcome to Research Matters, an online show that is all about communicating the research taking place at NUST in efforts to promote the university's research agenda and the impact thereof.
Welcome to Research and Innovation Matters. This is Season 4, Episode 1. This morning we have the honor of interviewing our very favorite guest, that is Professor Colin Stanley. He is the Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Research, Innovation and Partnerships at the Namibia University of Science and Technology. Of course, driving transformative platforms such as Fab Lab, the Technology Transfer Office, and Technovation Park. He leads HTTP Select, a pioneering hub that unites academia, industry, and entrepreneurs to co-create solutions in fintech, artificial intelligence, telemedicine, and green hydrogen. A thought leader in Afrocentric research, Professor Stanley has advanced community-based co-design of digital tools to safeguard indigenous knowledge. Good morning, Professor Colin.
Morning, it's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, it's Unda and Nigel right here, and we'll be diving into our topic today, which is looking at research that pays rent. Now, Prof, if we can just get into it.
Yes.
If you were to speak to a taxi driver or just someone, the ordinary person, how would you describe this? What do we mean by research that pays?
That's a very interesting question. One that you need more time, but I'm given short time to explain. When we are talking about research, it's finding practical solutions that makes people's life better, to improve. You're taking an example of a taxi driver. How can you find the shortest route? How can you optimize your customer satisfaction? So that's a typical problem that can make that person livelihood better, generate more money in basic terms. So, and the good thing is applied is in our mandate as a university. So our research should be applied in the communities. People should use and make a better living, pay the rent aspect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, Prof Stanley, you have just been recently appointed as DVC. Congratulations.
No, thank you. Thank you. It's an honor.
What does that mean to you? What does that unpack for the future of NUST and in this current position that you're in?
Yeah. To reach at that level, this is one of the highest academic leadership positions. It reaffirms your leadership style. And for me, it's a commitment to lead the university in the research space to new heights. There's a lot of expectations from the public. If you have listened to my public interview, there were questions that were relating to research innovation output. Yes, we have been doing well, doing research over the years. We've seen the publication, but the community want to see solutions that they can use. So for me, if you look at even my job description, there's unquestionable research integrity that one must lead. So that will also come out in my leadership and also performance. We need to perform. We have strategic objectives. Our government talks about strategic objectives or performance-based management type of leadership. And it's cascading down to us as leaders of universities, up to our researchers. When they are in the lab, they should perform.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what...
Now, Prof, if we look at NUST holistically and the research that we do, what is not working currently, but also what can we do as an institution of higher learning to make research more economically meaningful?
Yes, I would start with what is working. If you look at, recently we had the ranking of universities. If you look at university rankings, they touch heavily on research as a metric. Now, the QS Sub-Saharan Africa ranked in NUST position number 46. They were a total out of 69, so there were not a lot of universities ranked. But we are in the top 50. Those that are above top 50, they are just given not a position, they are given 50 plus. They are not given a position, so it's good.
But how many was the total number?
About 69 institutions, so it's not a lot. But what I want to point out, what is working for NUST, if you look at those rankings, one of the metrics that they measure is citations. How influential is our work? How are the other people referencing our work, talking about our work? NUST citation per paper is 60-something, 60.1, 60.4.
That's good.
That's very good. If you look at our sister, for comparison, if you look at our sister university, the dissertation paper was 17. So that tells a great story that our research is influencing others. People are taking our work to develop further. So that's a very good, that is working. And that now brings to a point, where can we do better?
Yeah.
And if you look at those metrics, also the publication per faculty is very low for NUST. So there are few people who are carrying the weight. There are those, at times you become a professor and you become dormant.
Yeah.
You are expected to
Continue
continue to do the great work. You don't do it only at the promotion stage, but you need to continue doing the great work. And then taking all we have all good technologies that we can use and do research around them to really have an impact. If you take, for instance, agriculture. Our government is talking about agriculture. Agriculture is about food production. If people are hungry, they cannot innovate. They cannot be productive. So if you take agriculture, for instance, and you talk about the nano-satellite ground station that we have launched, you talk about our renewable energies, you talk about our technology, the Accelerator Innovation Lab that we launched about a year ago. All these technologies, if you surround them to one ecosystem, you can really do amazing work. Communities will feel our impact.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think that's true. And just going back to what you've talked about, like the satellite, the ground station launch.
Yeah.
I think these are key elements to show how research goes beyond the gate.
Yes.
That research is not just within our own corridors, amongst peers, or in books of abstracts, but it's felt with the very community that is around us.
Yeah. I mean, we could go back to that example. One of our research output, that is not going into the journals. For instance, we work quite a lot of partners, industry partners for that matter. We work quite a lot with mining companies.
Yeah.
Our solutions at times is for their competitive advantage. They are not going to reveal it. And we have been doing quite well on that. So we should appreciate that. I mean, going back to the ground station satellite station, one would wonder, how can this help not ordinary Namibia? I'm a farmer, communal farmer at the village. I would like to know, where are my cattle, where are they farming, or where is better grazing? The satellite images can be received by the ground station, and we can develop apps that the farmer now can know where their livestock is, or where to navigate their livestock, and crop production, what parameters are making yield more food, more crops. So there's a lot of application just on that ground station. This morning we just visited one of our incubators that are working on solar panels. There's a problem when you have these panels, especially in an area that is semi-desert, like in Lutherans. Now, one of the efficiency of reducing the efficiency of these solar panels is the dust that comes over. So they are working on robotic that can auto-clean the solar panels. I mean, you might think that's something very trivial, but it has an economic impact on the company that is having a lot of solar panels. They could use water, but water is scarce in our country. So you could also reduce on labor, people working in the sun. So there's a lot of application of our research. And the good thing is our mandate us to have applied research that is useful in the communities in the industries.
Yeah. Now, Prof, you mentioned farmers and how they can leverage from some of the innovations that we've been able to execute. But what are the other indicators that a general person like me can track to make sure that research that you're conducting is really impactful or has real value? What are some of those things that I need to look out for to say that, okay, this research is getting somewhere and it's actually contributing in this way or that way?
Yeah. We have concept that we call living labs.
Okay.
So labs that are not only at NUST, where we are doing our experiments, chemicals. We have living labs where we take the lab into the communities.
Okay.
For instance, a good example is the growth of when you're going to.
Yes.
We have solar panels there, but it's not about the solar panels. It's about the energy that you generate, that you give to the communities, and the uptake of entrepreneurial activities. What other business activities can the communities do? And on top of that, you bring the agricultural experts to help and train the communities there, how to do better farming, how to do efficient, sustainable farming. So this is a very good example that you can see. Yes, the people are benefiting just because of having that. They can go into welding because now they have electricity. Some of them started, they are accessing internet. They are partaking in the digital economy. So those are, and the good thing is these are part of our targets or scorecard. So we are expected to count how did we contribute to the society, and we put it strategically on our scorecard so that we can be, oftentimes people say universities are ever cowards. They're sitting on. But now when you sign agreements with the communities, update that we are going to use your solutions, we will come and have monitoring to see whether they have been really changing your life or not, so that they are the one to tell the testimonies. They have really changed their lives.
I think what you mentioned here, monitoring, I think that's very, very important, because it's one thing to go into this community and give them this innovation or this idea, but, and maybe, yes, you do a little bit of training, but as time goes, people probably need to upskill every now and then to keep up with the innovation. But if you don't go back and you don't monitor, this could just become, idle at some point. So I think that is very, very important.
Yeah. And through that collaboration where we are working with communities or industries, we are also encouraging in our new strategy plan that when we are talking about entrepreneurs, startups, it's high time that lecturers, the supervisors with their students create a company. And that's welcome. That should be the case. Someone should be able to take sabbatical leave to go and nurture a company that they have started with the students. So those will be the high expectations for this strategic plan going forward. And from my take, I believe we have done very well on our policies. Our policies are well grounded now. They are, we need to test them out first before reviewing it. And having policies in place is your ground. You make sure that when a stakeholder comes, we know how we are going to share that intellectual property. So that we've done well. Now it's time for us to really bring the impact into the society.
And I'm glad actually brought up the element of the new strategic plan. And I'd just like to find out from you, now talking specifically on scalability with the new strategic plan, what can we look at maybe as one example that we can scale out for it to be just beyond the labs, but actually visible in the community? I think you also touched earlier about co-creation elements within the co-creation space.
So I will touch also on what would be interest for us. If you look at this portfolio, it talks about research, innovation, entrepreneurship, and now we are focusing on impact tracking. Now, on research, obviously, we have the classical research output, the publication. What I highlighted earlier, if you look at our baseline of last year, there's 104 publications where we are counting journals and conference proceedings. But you can see if we have academics of over 400 and something, or 800, actually, the correct figure is 800. And we are only getting 100. Okay, you could say not everyone is doing research. Let's half it, 400 people, and we are only getting 100 papers. So there we need to put emphasis to find out what is hindering this publication. And then obviously the PhD output. At times we are having very minimal PhD output. Now PhD output, when the students are doing research, is not anymore about doing research to become an academic. It's about doing the research that have impact in the community, that when you graduate, you have your company. So that's the mindset of our strategic plan. Now going to in the entrepreneurial research output, yes, this is where we want more impact with the communities, where we have been only catering our students, our lecturers, but we want to invite those from outside that are very good at innovation so that they can be part of our ecosystem. And we are going to focus more on funding investors. Oftentimes you have a very good idea, but you don't have the capital start injection for you to run your company.
Absolutely.
So, and then the last one on the impact tracking. So that is where we will make sure that, yes, we are being ranked globally, but we ensure that our output touch the society. So if you think I haven't touched the question, you could repeat again the aspect that you want me to focus on.
I think you've answered the question. I'll just want to take you to the word impact itself.
Yeah.
What is that for the everyday person out there?
Yeah, so impact could be subjective. You could say, for me, this is impact. But impact can only be measured for those that have felt the impact. So that's why we're saying we are going back to the communities, those testimonies, the industries. They are the one going to tell us that, yes, what you have worked of us have changed, actually worked and have improved our way of doing business. Remember, innovation is not sometimes only a tangible artifact. It could be an innovative process, business process that have helped the communities or the business company to do their business. So that's really where we are. And we know for you to have this ecosystem, you need to recruit the right people that knows how to spot innovation, that have passion for it. So and that's one of our key targets this year, to recruit the right person to run the technology transfer office. And if you look at what most universities, best performing universities have done, they have invested in their technology transfer office. They see it as a business. They see it as a unique system. Stanford, all those other universities, Silicon Valley, where we have products that are used globally. It comes from that ecosystem, from their TTO office. So this is what we are learning from the best. There's nothing wrong about benchmarking or copying. In researchers, they call it paraphrasing.
Yes, it is paraphrasing. Now, Prof, perhaps you can also just look at commercialization, right? It's difficult everywhere. But what are some of the bottlenecks that we've experienced as NUST, and how have we overcome that?
So yes, commercialization is difficult. You need money to invest in that. You need funders. Sometimes you have a project. You need to have a project to do research, to start off. And we have noticed we have not paying quite good attention on the proposal writing. So we investing also in that aspect so that we write good proposals. We have research ongoing. And then we have, as I earlier alluded to, we have the TTO person or people that can spot our research and look at, for instance, if you take all our masters and PhD, those people did research and they say there's a novel, there's a gap. That gap can be innovated, can be taken into a product that we can develop. And we need industries that will uptake this technology. So for us to work closely with the industries, and also to know the costs that are involved in commercialization. Commercializing research, you have to, for instance, sometimes pay for that patent. So we need to start also investing into that ecosystem. So it takes all our commitment to move commercialization. So what we've picked up, we have a lot of right now we have about 6 intellectual property that we have licensed. But license is just protecting it of people. But then you can move a little further and say, yes, this is my license, but I need you to use my product. They can sign the license agreement. You always hear people say, oh, we need to pay for this license, for software license for us to use. It was created by people who innovated that product. They have now sold their intellectual through an agreement, and they get some money. I said great in Africa. So they get their revenues, and royalties. And some of those institutions are universities. Universities have opportunity to touch on job creation. This is where we said some of our targets, how did we contribute to employment, directly or indirectly?
And I think that takes us to our next question with regard to partnerships. Now, I think there's an old saying that most businesses are made from solving problems, and I guess the same is kind of applicable to research. Research has to solve some form of a problem somehow. Now, looking at our business space or our external environment outside the university, how do we as NUST cultivate such partnerships or engage into such partnerships where we help organizations, companies, figure out how best to make money or how best to solve a problem. You also mentioned something on business processes earlier on.
Yeah. So
Yes.
first of all, what we need to know our strength. It will not help going to a company or a stakeholder or a community, and we don't have the capacity to make that partnership succeed. We know our strength. We have engineers that are doing very well. We have the computer experts who are doing very well, who are doing their research. We have people from human sciences in education who are doing very well. So it's a matter of we are taking stock on where we are doing very well, and you become strategic in the partners that you select. We select partners that we know that will bring great value through that partnerships. And you are right. We are not doing research for the sake of or for ourselves. We need to work with the industry. We need to work with government and ensure that through that partnership, we're talking about monitoring and evaluation, that the partnership don't become dormant.
Yes.
And through that partnership, actually you can have even spin-offs where that company can create a new company. Yeah. So that's the idea of create a new product together. At times it might be something that everyone will not see. At times it could be really if we work quite well for a long time. This is a living testimony where we are seated today. This is a collaboration of MTC. They brought their innovation output, and for sure through this collaboration, the tech development that they are doing, coming through the collaboration with our students, with our professors. This is a classical example that one can show this.
All right, now, Prof, let's look at moving our partnerships from paper partnerships to MOUs that are actually implemented. How do we ensure that there is structure in our collaborations?
Yes, that's a challenging one. Industries are very flexible, very agile. That's the word I was looking for. Yeah. They're agile, they are business driven, they're money driven, they need to move fast. Oftentimes universities are classified as to be bit bureaucratic, to take bit long. We have our structures. Processes are long. Yeah. And these not only of NUST, it's a well-known fact. And universities have to change that for us to remain competitive, for us to work with industries. And the good thing is, you might be aware, we are collaborating with Times Higher Education. On Times Higher Education, for us, it's not about ranking. So they do diagnostic analysis on our research activities, and they can tell us, look, you are doing well, for instance, in artificial intelligence, and you have been working with these universities. However, there's potential if you work with another university because they are doing very well in that field. So, and this is what we are saying about, for us, selecting partners is the data informed. So it's not just about selecting partners. We should select partners and bring value to our discussion. So yes, and having systems in place that once we sign these agreements, they should not be dormant. We should have the system.
Like a tracking or something.
So that's something for sure we are going to work on with the right offices that are also coordinating agreements at the university. Yeah.
Now, Prof Stanley, just shifting the conversation away slightly from partnerships, and just want to talk now about our postgraduate development arena. I think that also falls under your careful eye, so to say. But I mean, my question is that how is NUST aligning postgraduate training with Namibia's labor market and entrepreneurship needs, so that the graduates that we create are not only job seekers but have got impact and value in society. I think the big debate across the board in the nation is that where are the graduates going to,
Who's taking them up?
Who's taking them up? But from the postgraduate sense, maybe you can shed light on that.
Yeah, you're right. The postgraduate sits under our portfolio. And one would also, just to bring the background why postgraduate, most universities, they're under the research portfolio, is because those studies are research focused. You do research to find solutions that can be used. So we're quite interested in their output. In fact, that's why you count it when you come to the research output. The thesis is counted as a research output. It's a paper. It's a one research paper that you can reference. So it's a contribution to the body of knowledge. Now, we are moving the ways, as I indicated earlier, that a PhD graduate is not your classical just to work in academia. Yes, there will be those that have passion and interest to be in the academia, to continue teach and into research. But there will be those that will also want to go in the industry. So the postgraduate are setting up the postgraduate academy, or package program integrated to have regular intervention of industry. If the industry should, come to campus, they showcase what they do, or vice versa. Our students are showcasing. We call it name Open Day. Open Day for a reason that a certain company can come and listen to Colin's poster and see, wow, this is worth really good research. It's worth investing it. They could give a scholarship. They could give opportunity for product development. So that's the thinking that our students should. And the good thing is most of our students, by the way, are working. So for them to understand that they should have solutions that solve their current problems at the workplace so that our companies can be competitive.
Yeah.
When we speak about a knowledge-based economy, it's in many aspects. So that's the rationale about postgraduate. Yes, we have seen the gaps that we are in, that our students' throughput is not doing well. Oftentimes we have students that are staying in the system quite long, which is not good. Because if there is a delayed graduation, it means there's delayed innovation, delayed contribution to the knowledge economy. So we are going to emphasize, put priorities on our postgraduate program.
So with regard to the postgraduates we just discussed, we obviously have a lot of early researchers. What message would you give them in order to make sure that their research is really publishable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And research, at times, it's an art. It's something that can be crafted if you do it more. Basic definition, search is you search again, read. That's why there is a read in front. It takes passion and commitment. At times, when you start, it will not be clear. You might not even understand it. I see that anxiety when I see the postgraduate. I was also there.
Yeah.
But the moment you start seeing, wow, this is something new, and someone is using it, and someone is talking about it, that's where the inspiration comes from. So I will encourage them to not lose hope, to continue, with the knowledge discovery, and do it for the love of wisdom. Oftentimes people do it for the dollar. That's
the title.
The title comes with it. Do it because you want to contribute to the body of knowledge, and the reward incentives comes indirectly.
Yeah.
And you notice people that have done work that they are passionate about. It stands out.
Yeah.
The most innovators that they have done something that they are passionate about, they were driven from passion, from a good heart, from really creating something that they are proud of. That was the starting point. And then the rest falls in place.
Now, Prof, we have our big national documents. There's NDP 6 years and your Vision 2063, and we've got Vision 2030 as well. So, where is NUST? And also talking about our new strategic plan as well that you touched on. Looking ahead 5 years. How is it that NUST will contribute to paying rent? For lack of a better term.
For sure, we will contribute to pay rent. We will pay our rent and we will pay it on time.
We'll pay in advance, Prof. We will pay in advance.
Why I'm saying so, if you look at how this current strategic plan was crafted, it derived its direction from those national development plans. So knowing that by 2030, Namibia should be industrialized economy, we should be a knowledge-based economy. So, and also the new minimum standards where we have to fulfill. We're talking about your budget of university, certain amount should go to research. So I believe NUST is really going to contribute to that. And our target also spread over the next 5 years. So for sure, we are going to pay our rent, making sure that we meet those targets, and we put realistic targets. Considering our potential, we were not pukes. We look at our performance over the past years, average increment of our performance with our current infrastructure, and also saying that if we are given a conducive environment and if we support our researchers, this is achievable target. So that's where we are moving. And NUST have been contributed to national documents, beneficiation strategy, and need gets analysis of green nitrogen. So these are, and also what is interesting, talking about how NUST can contribute to national documents. In our targets, we are even putting, when we are saying contribution in the society, policy briefs. If I do my research, one of my outcomes should be a policy brief that I can take to Parliament, and understand how that research can influence the policies that needs to be.
Absolutely. Now, Prof, we looked at NUST, right? But I want us now to shift our focus to nationally.
Yes.
So what can the government do differently, the industry, and even citizens such as ourselves, to really have research translate into this real world value and not just this document, again, that is just not...
That's a good question. What can government do, and what other government have done? They have invested in research. There's a global indicators. How much should a country invest in research? It should be at least 1% of your GDP to invest in research and development. Let me give you a good example on how the Japanese government have moved their innovation. They were not in the ship manufacturing in some early years. And what the government have said, we are supporting that industry. And they were not having steel in Japan. So they have to buy steel from UK. So any person that buys steel was incentivized by the government. The same, you incentivize industries that are doing collaboration with universities, research collaboration. France said, we'll do a tax cut because you know very well, if you invest in research and development, it will move your economy. For sure, there will be a product that will be produced in Namibia that is sold internationally. With all these new discoveries, and what I always put as a good example is we are relying, if you look at our economy, we are relying on natural resources. And we somehow have developed know-how. If you look at Namibia mining, it's very advanced. They push the sea back, mine. So they mine into the sea, but they push it back. They have advanced technologies. Now it's a matter of how you take that know-how and let everyone know the know-how of creating manufacturing products. So when that resource is depleted, you still left with the know-how. So that's why when we have that small robotic at NUST, we should do research and use the application and move into a next stage of advanced manufacturing arm that we work with industries, irrespective of what they do. So they have a problem, they want to automate their manufacturing pipeline, we can solve that problem for them. And that's what other universities are doing. So this is where I think we can contribute to the industrialization of our country.
No, that brings us to the end. So thank you so much
Thank you.
for the insights, and I think also just helping us see the vision where we're headed as an institution, but also the impact that we're trying to do locally as well as globally, truly with the partnerships that we bring in. Now, of course, that brings us to the end of Research and Innovation Matters. Nigel and Unda signing off. We'll see you next time.